So we are now at stage 12, paragraph page 1184. Okay, and our last head word was mutual, newer type of lesson.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's start with our revision. Okay, let me just scroll down.
Okay.
84. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. It's okay.
Okay, let me 1184. Okay, here we go. First question. What happens
Yes.
to a hut that cannot withstand a storm? What happens to a hut that cannot withstand a storm? A hut that
A heart
cannot
that
withstand a
cannot
storm
withstand a
gets
storm.
blown to pieces.
It
Gets gets blown to pieces
gets blown to pieces
or falls to
or
pieces.
falls to pieces.
Very good. One more. A hut that
A heart
cannot
that
withstand a
cannot
storm
withstand a storm
gets blown to
gets blown
pieces
to
or
pieces
falls to
or
pieces.
falls to pieces.
Very good. Is an optimistic person more likely to expect their plans to come off or fall through? Is an optimistic person more likely to expect their plans to come off or fall through? An optimistic
An
person is
optimistic
more
person is
likely to
more likely
expect their
to expect
plans
their
to come
plans
off.
to come off.
Very good. Were you a conscientious student at secondary school? Were you a conscientious student at secondary school? Yes or no?
Yes,
I was a
I
conscientious
was a
student
conscientious
at
student
secondary
at the
school.
secondary school.
Very good. Do you believe in private enterprise or do you believe everything should be owned and run by the state?
And run by
Do
the
you
state.
believe in private enterprise or do you believe everything should be owned and run by the state? I believe
I believe in private
enterprise.
enterprise.
And I don't believe
I don't
everything
believe
should be owned
everything should be
and run
owned
by the state.
and run by the state.
Very good. Is education in your country provided mainly by the private sector? Is education in your country provided mainly by the private sector? Yes or no?
No,
Education in my
education
country
in my
isn't
country
provided
isn't
mainly
provided
by the
mainly
private
by the
sector.
private sector.
Very good. When a fire's burning but there are no visible flames, what do we say it's
What do
doing?
we say it's
When a
doing?
fire's burning but there are no visible flames, what do we say it's doing? When a fire's
When
burning
a fire is
but
burning,
there are no
but there
visible
are no
flames,
visible
we
flames,
say it's
we say
smoldering.
it's smoldering.
Very good. Why does smothering a kitchen fire with a damp towel often succeed in extinguishing the fire? Why does smothering a kitchen fire with a damp towel often succeed in extinguishing the fire?
Yeah.
Smothering a kitchen
Smothering a
fire
kitchen
with a
fire
damp towel
with a damp towel
often succeed
often
in
succeed
extinguishing the
in
fire
extinguishing the
because
fire
it prevents
because it
oxygen
prevents the
from reaching
oxygen
the
from
flames,
reaching the flame,
so the fire cannot
so the
continue
fire
burning.
cannot continue burning.
Very good. Give me an example of the adjective horrified. Give me an example of the adjective horrified, please. When I saw the
When
mess
I saw
the
the mess
decorators had
the
made
decorators
in my
had made
lawn,
in my
I
lounge,
was horrified.
I was horrified.
Very good. Would you describe your region of the country as picturesque? Would you describe your region of the country as picturesque? Yes or no?
Picturesque. Yes,
I describe my
I
region of
describe
the
my
country
region of the
as
country
picturesque.
as picturesque.
Very good. Who do you think would be more likely to stand by you in a crisis? Your family or your friends? Who do you think would be more likely to stand by you in a crisis? Your family or your friends? I think my
I think my
would
family
be more
would
likely
be
to
more
stand by
likely
me
to
in a
stand by
crisis.
me in a crisis.
Very good. What do we call a child who has neither a mother nor a father? What do we call a child who has neither a mother nor a father? We call a child
We call
who
a
has
child
neither a
who has
mother
neither a
nor a
mother
father,
nor a father,
an orphan.
an orphan.
Very good. Do you enjoy watching TV programs in which a panel of experts debate current affairs? Do you enjoy watching TV program in which a panel of experts debate current affairs? Yes or no?
Yes,
I enjoy
I
watching TV
enjoy watching the
programs
TV
in which
programs
a panel
in
of
which a
experts
panel of
debate
experts
current
debate
affairs.
current affairs.
Very good. How are the words shy and timid different from each other? How are the words shy and timid different from each other? The word shy
The
and
word
timid
shy and
have a
timid
similar
have
meaning,
a similar meaning,
but shy generally
but shy
means
generally means
self-conscious and
self-conscious and
uncomfortable in the
uncomfortable
company of other
company
people,
of other people,
whereas timid
whereas
means
timid means
easily frightened.
to be frightened,
Very good. Well, easily frightened.
easily frightened.
Very good. One more. The word shy and
The word
timid
shy
have
and
a
timid.
similar meaning.
Sorry.
The word shy
Second,
and
the word
timid
shy and timid
have a similar
have
meaning,
a similar
but
meaning,
shy
but
generally
shy
means
generally means
self-conscious and
self-conscious and
uncomfortable in the
uncomfortable
company
in
of
the
other
company
people,
of other people,
whereas timid
whereas
means
timid means
easily frightened.
easily frightened.
Very good. Give me an example of each. Give me an example of each, please. The little boy
The little
felt
boy
very shy
felt very
in the
shy
company of
in the
so many
company of
adults.
so many
The
adults.
actor looked as
The actor
timid
looked
as a
as
mouse
timid as a mouse
when he walked on stage
when he walked on
to
stage
perform.
to perform.
Very good. Okay. Make sentences containing an adjective with the suffix al. Make
AL,
sentences containing an adjective with the suffix al, please. My
please.
grammatical
My
knowledge of
grammatical
French
knowledge
is
of
limited.
my
My
grammatical
grammatical
knowledge
knowledge of French is
of
limited.
French is limited.
The teacher made an
The teacher made
intentional
an
mistake
intentional
to see
mistakes
if
to
anyone
see
would
if
notice.
anyone would notice.
Very good. Make sentences containing an adjective with the suffix ive. Make
IVE,
sentences containing an adjective with the suffix ive, please. It
IVE.
was a good
It was a
performance,
good
and the
performance,
audience were
and the
very
audience
responsive.
were very responsive.
Reports suggest
Reports
an
suggest
explosive
an
device has
explosive
been
device
found in the
has been
building.
found in the building.
Very good. Make sentences containing an adjective with the suffix ous. Make
OUS,
sentences containing an adjective with the suffix ous, please.
OUS.
This food is
This
very
food
tasty,
is very
but not
tasty,
very
but not
nutritious.
very nutritious.
Many of us may become
Many of us
ill
may become ill
because this
because
disease
this
is
disease
highly
is
infectious.
highly infectious.
Very good. Make sentences containing an adjective with the suffix ic. Make
I see.
sentences containing an adjective with the suffix ic, please. Why did you make
Why did you
such
make
an idiotic
such as an
decision?
idiotic decision?
If you like
If
dramatic
you like a
stories,
grammatical
you'll
story,
definitely
you will
enjoy this
definitely
book.
enjoy this book.
Very good. Make sentences containing an adjective with the suffix y. Make sentences containing an adjective with the suffix y, please. The laptop was
The
faulty,
laptop was
so I
faulty.
returned it to the
So,
shop.
sorry,
The
the
laptop
laptop
was faulty.
faulty.
Faulty, like with fault. Faulty.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
The
okay.
laptop was
The
faulty,
laptop was faulty,
so I returned it
so
to
I
the shop.
returned it to the shop.
It may be a risky thing to do, okay,
It may be a risky thing to
but
do,
I think it's your
but I
best
think
option.
it's your best option.
Very good. Make sentences containing an adjective with the suffix able. Make
ABLE.
sentences containing an adjective with the suffix able, please. This part of town
This part
is
of town
becoming
is
highly
becoming
desirable.
highly desirable.
He's not particularly
He's not
clever,
particularly clever,
but he's very
but he's
likable.
very likable.
Very good. Make sentences containing an adjective with the suffix ible. Make
IBLE.
sentences containing an adjective with the suffix ible, please.
IBLE, please.
My mother's
My
chocolate
mother's
cakes
chocolate
are
cakes
irresistible.
are irresistible.
The website
The
won't be
website
accessible
won't be
to
accessible
anyone
to
outside
anyone
the
outside the
university.
university.
Very good. If you were working for a meager salary and knew
Meager
that
salary
people in
and
other
new
companies were performing the same role as
performing the
you
same
for
role
far
as
more money, would you
you.
demand a rise? If you were working for a meager salary and knew that people in other companies were performing the same role as you
Performing
for
the
far
same
more
role as
money,
you.
would you demand a rise?
Demand
Yes or
rise?
no?
Yes.
If I were working
If I
for
were
a
working
meager
for a
salary
meager
and
salary
knew that
and
people
knew
in
that the
other
people
companies
in other
were
companies
performing the
were
same role
performing
as
the
me
same role as
for
me
far more money,
for far more
I
money,
demand a rise.
I demand a rise.
Very good. Why is it advisable for frail elderly people to walk with a stick?
To walk with a
Why
stick.
is it advisable for frail elderly people to walk with a stick? It's advisable
It's
for
advisable
frail
for
elderly
frail
people
elderly
to walk
people
with a stick
to walk with a stick
because they're likely
because they
to
are
hurt
likely
themselves
to hurt
if they
themselves
fall over.
if they fall
Very good.
over.
Fall over. Why is it that we sometimes take to a person quickly when we chat with them for the first time? Why is it that we sometimes take to a person quickly when we chat with them for the first time? We sometimes
We
take
sometimes
to a person
take to a
quickly
person
when
quickly
we chat with
when we
them
chat
for the
with
first
them
time
for the first time
because we discover
because we
we
discovered
have mutual
we have
interest,
mutual
a
interest,
similar sense of
a
humor,
similar sense of humor,
etc.
etc.
Very good. Okay, that's the end of our revision. Let's have new word. Very good. Okay, repeat. Sheer.
Sure.
Very good. Okay, listen. Here is an adjective. It is used to emphasize the large amount,
Emphasize a large
size, or
amount
degree of
or size
something.
or degree of something.
For example, I think being a detective is a
Being
field of
detective
work
is a
in which
field of
I think
work.
sheer determination and
Sheer
hard work
determination and
are
hard
not
work
enough for a person to succeed.
must succeed.
Let's practice. Name a field of work in which you think sheer determination and hard work are not enough for a person to succeed. Name a field of work in which you think sheer
Which
determination and hard
determination
work are not enough
hard
for a
work are
person to
not enough.
succeed. I think
I think surgeon
a surgeon is a field of
is a
work
field of work
in which sheer
in which
determination
sheer
and
determination
hard work
and
are
hard
not
work
enough
are
for
not
a
enough
person to
for a
succeed.
person to succeed.
Very good. So what else do you think is necessary for success? So what else do you think is necessary for success? I think
I think natural talent
is necessary for
is
success.
necessary for success.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Agile.
Agile,
Very good. Okay, so in UK, agile. In the US, agile. Okay,
Ad,
agile.
agile,
Agile. Very good. So
agile.
agile is an adjective which means able to move quickly and easily. For example, the cat is a species of animal that we often think of
We
as
often
being
think of
extremely
as
agile.
being extremely agile.
Let's practice. Name a species of animal that we often think as being extremely agile. Name a species of animal that we often think of as being extremely agile.
Extremely
The cat
agile.
is a
The cat
species of
is a
animal
species of
that we
animal
often think
that
of
we often
as
think of
being
as
extremely
being
agile.
extremely agile.
Very good. Next, repeat. Would sooner.
Would sooner
Docile.
docile,
Rowdy.
rowdy,
Very good. Okay, listen. So, docile is an
docile,
adjective. It
adjective,
means easily thought, led, or controlled.
better
For
control,
example, my students were docile and eager to learn
eager to
English.
learn English.
Rowdy. The word rowdy means behaving in a noisy, rough
Behaving in a
way
noisy,
that
rough
is
way,
likely to cause
with
arguments and
cause
fighting.
argument and
For
fighting.
example, I find it difficult to teach a class full of rowdy children.
Loud,
Would sooner is used to indicate that
used to
you want to
indicate you
or
want
prefer
to
to do,
afford
have,
to do,
etc.
have, etc.
It also means would rather. For
Would
example,
rather.
if I were a teacher, I'd sooner have a
I
docile
should
class
have a docile
than
class
one that tended to
the
be a bit
one that tend
rowdy,
to be a bit
because noisy
rowdy
children
because noisy
sometimes get on
children
my
sometimes
nerves.
get on my nerves.
Okay, let's practice. If you were a teacher, would you sooner have a docile class or one that tended to be a bit rowdy? If you're a teacher, would you sooner have a docile class or one that tended to be a bit rowdy? If I were a teacher,
If I were a
I'd
teacher,
sooner have
I'd sooner have a docile class
class. Why? Why? Because
because mm, I feel I feel it's easy teach to teach them.
very good. It's easier to teach them than rowdy children. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, next repeat. Let alone.
Let alone
Very good. Okay, listen. Let alone is used after a negative
after
sentence
a negative
to say that
sentence.
the next thing you will
Next
mention
thing
is
you will
even more
mention
unlikely
even more
or
unlikely or
impossible. For
impossible.
example, he couldn't run to catch the bus,
Get the
let
bus.
alone complete a
Let alone
marathon.
to complete a marathon.
Okay, let's practice. Give me an example of the phrase let alone.
Yes,
Give
let
me an
alone.
example of the phrase let alone,
Let
please.
alone.
He couldn't run to
He
catch a
couldn't run
bus,
to catch a
let
bus.
alone
Let
complete a
alone
marathon.
complete a marathon.
Very good. Next, repeat. Hop.
Hop,
Frog.
frog.
Very good. Okay, listen. Frog means a small animal that
Small
spends
animal
much of
that
its
spends
time
much of
in
its
water
time
and
in
has
water.
smooth skin,
Has a smooth
webbed
skin,
feet, and
webbed
long back legs for
long
jumping.
back leg for
For
jumping.
example, in the story, the prince kisses the frog and the frog became a man. Hop is a verb. It means to move by quick
Move
jump or
by
series
quick
of
jump
jumps.
or serious jump.
For example, when frogs are on land, they
Land,
usually hop.
you should hop.
Very good. When the verb hop is used to describe the way a
That
person is
describes the way a
moving,
person is
it means to
moving.
jump on one leg
Jump on
only.
one
For
leg
example,
only.
I sprained my ankle and had
Ankle
to hop
had to hop
back to the house.
Back to the house.
Very good. Okay, so let's practice. When frogs are on land, do they usually walk or hop? When frogs are on land, do they
Frogs are
usually
on
walk
and
or
they
hop?
walk on hut.
When frogs are on
When
land,
frogs are on
they
land,
usually hop.
they usually hop.
Very good. What does the verb to hop means when it's used to describe the way a person is moving? What does the verb hop means when it's used to describe the way a person is moving? When the verb hop
When the verb
is
hop
used to
is used
describe
to
the way a
describe
person is
the way
moving,
of the person is
it
moving,
means to jump
it
on
means to
one leg
jump
only.
on one leg only.
Very good. Next, repeat. Inherit.
Inherit,
Take after.
take after.
Very good. Okay, listen. Inherit is a verb. It means to have a
To
characteristic,
have a characteristic,
disease, etc.
disease, etc.
because of the genes that you got from your parents when you were born. For example, I'd say it was best to inherit brains than beauty
Brain,
and money
beauty,
because
and money
beauty and
because
money can be achieved when one has brains.
one has
Take after is a phrasal verb.
take after
It
the
means to be
principle.
like someone,
To
such
be
as
like
a
someone
parent,
such as
or to
parent
resemble someone.
resemble
For
someone.
example, I take after my mother's happy character and my father's
Character,
funny character.
one character.
Let's practice. Which would you say was best to inherit, brains, beauty, or money? Which would you say was best to inherit, brains, beauty, or money? I'd say it was
I'd
best to
say it
inherit
was best to inherit brains
than beauty and money.
than beauty and money.
Very good. In terms of character, who do you take after more, your mother or your father? In terms of character, who do you take after more, your mother or your father? In terms of
In
character,
terms of a
I
character,
take after
I
my
take after my mother
more than my father.
more than my father.
Very good. Next, repeat. Right up.
Right up.
Very good. Okay, listen. Write up is a phrasal verb. It
Rest
means
up.
to describe something in a
Something
detailed written
in a
account.
detail written
For
account.
example, it's a good idea for university students to write up some
To
notes
write
they
up
take
some notes
during a
they
lecture
take during the
because
lecture.
it helps them to
It
remember the
helps them to
information
remember the
and gives
information
them a tidier
and
and
gives
more
them a
complete
tidy and
record
more
of the
complete
lecture.
record of the lecture.
Let's practice. Why is it a good idea for university students to write up any
To
notes they
write up
take
any
during a
notes they
lecture?
take during the
Why
lecture.
is it a good idea for
Why is it
university
for
students
university
to write
student
up any
to
notes they take
and
during a lecture? It's a good idea
it's a
for
good idea
university
for
students
university
to write
students
up some
to write
notes
up some
they
notes
take during a
they take
lecture
during the
because
lecture
it helps them
because
to
it helps
remember
them
the
to remember
information
the
and
information
gives them a
and gives
tidier
them a
and more
tidier
complete
and a
record
more complete
of the
record
lecture.
of the lecture.
Very good. Next, repeat duck.
Duck.
Very good. Okay, listen. Duck is a verb. It means to lower your head or body
Lower your head
suddenly to
or
avoid
body
being seen
suddenly
or
to
hit.
avoid being seen or
For
hit.
example, I'm ducking down as if I was trying to avoid being hit or
Avoid
seen.
being hit or seen.
Okay, let's practice. What am I doing? What am I doing? You're ducking
You are
down
ducking.
as if
Sorry,
you're ducking down
you are ducking down
as if you were
as if
trying to
you are
avoid
trying to
being
avoid
hit or
being
seen.
hit or seen.
Very good. Next, repeat gauge.
Gauge.
Precise.
Precise.
Very good. Okay, listen. Precise means very accurate and
Very
exact.
accurate.
For
Exact.
example, I have a doctor's appointment this
Doctor's
afternoon,
appointment. This
or more
afternoon.
precisely at
More
2 o'clock
precisely at 2
this
o'clock.
afternoon.
This
Gauge
afternoon.
is a verb. The two meanings of the verb gauge are to measure precisely and
Measure
estimate
precisely.
or judge. For
Estimate or
example,
judge.
it's hard to gauge whether
Hard to
he's
gauge
suitable for
whether
the
it
job.
is suitable for the job.
Let's practice. What are the two meanings of the verb gauge? What are the two
What are
meanings
the
of the
two
verb
meanings of the
gauge?
verb
The
gauge?
two
The
meanings
two
of the
meanings
verb
of
gauge
the verb
are
gauge
measure
are
precisely
measure
and
precisely
estimate or
and
judge.
estimate for judge.
Very good. Give me an example of each. Give me an example of each, please. We must gauge the
We
width
must gauge
of the
the
window
wind of the window.
before cutting
Sorry.
the glass.
We must the
We must
gauge.
we must gauge the
We
width
must
of
gauge
the window
the width of the window
before cutting the
before
glass to
cutting
fit.
the glass to fit.
It's hard to
It's
gauge
hard to
whether
gauge
he's suitable for
whether
the
he
job.
is suitable for the job.
Very good. Next, repeat embrace.
Embrace.
Very good. Okay, listen, embrace means to hold someone in your
Hold
arms
someone
as a
in your
way of
arms
expressing
as a
love
way
or
of
friendship.
expressing love or faith.
For example, it is the custom in my country for friends to embrace if they haven't
If
seen each
they
other for a
haven't seen
while.
the other for a while.
Let's practice. Is it the custom in your country for friends to embrace if they haven't seen each other for a while? Is it the custom
It's
in your
custom.
country for friends to embrace if they haven't seen each other for a while? Yes or no?
No,
It isn't the
it
custom
isn't
in
the
my
custom in
country
my
for friends
country
to
for
embrace
friends to
if they
embrace
haven't seen
if they
each
haven't
other
seen
for a
each
while.
other for a while.
Very good. Next, repeat. Shove,
Sharp.
tug,
Uh,
tug.
tag. Okay, tag.
Very good. Okay, listen. Shove is a verb which
Sharp
means
is
to
verb.
push hard.
To push hard.
For example, she shoved me into the swimming
Or
pool as a
into the
joke.
swimming pool as a joke.
Tug is a verb which means to
Tag
pull hard.
to pull
For
hard.
example, I tugged too hard and the old door handle
And
came
all the
off in my
handles came
hand.
off in my hand.
Let's practice. What does the word tug mean? What does the word tug mean?
Tag me.
The word tug
The word
means
tag
pull
means
hard.
to pull hard.
And what does the word shove mean? And what does the word shove mean?
Shove me.
The word
The
shove
word
means
shove
push
means
hard.
to push hard.
Give me an example of each. Give me an example of each, please. I tugged too hard
I tugged
and the
hard,
old door
and the
handle came off
old door handle
came off in my hand.
came off in my hand.
One more. I tugged too hard
I tugged too
and
hard,
the old door
and the
handle
old door
came
handles
off in my
came
hand.
off in my
She
hand.
shoved me
She
into the
shoved me
swimming pool
into the swimming
as a
pool
joke.
as a joke.
Very good. Next, repeat. Drop out.
Drop out.
Very good. Okay, listen. Drop out means to stop attending a school
Stop
or
attending
university
school or
before you
university
have completed your
before you have
studies.
completed your
For example,
studies.
someone might drop out of an
Drop
academic
out of
course
an
because they
academic
find it
course
boring,
because they find it
too
boring.
difficult, etc.
Right?
Let's practice. What reason might someone have for dropping out of an academic course? What reason might someone have for dropping out on an academic course? Someone might drop
Someone
out of
might
an
drop out
academic
of an
course
academic
because
course
they find it
because
boring,
they find it boring,
too difficult,
too
etc.
difficult, etc.
Very good. Next, repeat. Trash.
Mm,
Trash.
uh, trash.
Very good. Okay, listen. Trash is a verb which
Trash is
means
hard.
to hit someone or something very
Someone or
hard with a
something
stick,
very hard
whip,
with a stick.
etc.
With
For example, it's strange to think that school teachers used to be allowed to trash pupils as a punishment. Some teachers trash their students with a stick.
with a stick.
Trash could also mean to defeat
Also mean to
someone or
defeat someone or
something very
something
easily or
very easily
completely.
or completely.
For example, Brazil trashed England in the
Trash
previous
even
football
in the
match.
previous the match.
Let's practice. Have you ever been trashed by an opponent when playing sport? Have you ever been trashed by an opponent when playing sport? Yes or no?
No,
I have never been
I have
trashed
never been
by an opponent.
trust.
One more. No,
I
I have never
no,
been
I have
trashed
never been trust
by an opponent
by an opponent
when playing sport.
when playing sports.
Is it strange to think that school teachers used to be allowed to trash pupils as a punishment?
The
Is it
punishment.
strange to think that school teachers used to be allowed to trash pupils as a punishment? Yes, it's
Yes,
strange to think
it's strength to
that
sing
school
that
teachers
school
used to be
teachers
allowed
used to
to
be
trash
allowed
pupils
to trust
as
peoples
a punishment.
as a punishment.
Very good. Next, repeat. Assertive.
Assertive.
Very good. Listen, assertive is an adjective. By
Adjective.
an assertive person, we mean someone who communicates their feelings clearly
Their feelings
and
clearly
firmly in order to get
firmly
what they
in
want,
order to get what
but
they
without
want
being aggressive.
without being aggressive.
For example, it's important to behave assertively
Behave
when you're
assertively
asking for a
when
pay
you're asking
rise,
for a pay
demanding a
rise.
refund, etc. Let's practice. What do we mean by an assertive person? What do we mean by an assertive person?
Assertive person.
By an assertive
By an
person,
assertive
we mean
person,
someone
I mean
who
someone
communicates
who
their
communicates
feelings
their
clearly
feelings
and
clearly
firmly
and
in
firmly
order to get
in
what
order
they
to
want,
get what
but without
they
being
want,
aggressive.
uh,
But without being
but
aggressive.
without being aggressive.
Very good. One more. By an assertive
By an
person,
assertive
we
person,
mean someone
we
who
mean someone
communicates
who
their
communicates
feelings
their
clearly
feelings
and
clearly
firmly
and
in order and
and
firmly
firmly
in order to get
in
what they
order
want,
to get what they
but
want,
without
but
being
without
aggressive.
being aggressive.
Very good. Okay. Name a situation in which it's important to be assertive. Name a situation which is important to be assertive. It's important to
It's
behave
important
assertively
to behave
when
assertively
you're asking for a
when you are
pay
asking
rise,
for pay rise,
demanding a refund,
demanding a refund,
etc.
etc.
Very good. Next, repeat. Cling, clong, clong.
Cling, clang, clang.
Clutch.
Clutch.
Very good. Okay, cling means to hold onto something or someone very tightly.
Very tightly.
For example, a small child might cling onto their mother's arm in a crowd because they're scared of getting
You're scared
lost.
of getting lost.
Okay, oh, but we stopped there for today. We only have like